You are right, I remember exactly where I use it, but I don't really consider it using it, like you said, just because it's such a throwaway use of it, and then it's gone forever. As far as maybe I'm remembering wrong, I have no idea. I always really liked this guy, but I'm biased, I like reptiles and dinosaurs and shit. Plus his weapon is good. Like, he gives you a weapon that, again, and there's a lot of instances of this, just in general throughout all my playthroughs, where I used to think it was really kind of pointless, and then you start using it, and you're like, God damn it, like, the game design in these really is fantastic when you start using the weapons, and you realize, like, the utilities they have attached to them, and granted, that doesn't apply to all of them, like, we're gonna get all the way to 7 and shit like that, and it's just, oh, fuck, never mind, but as far as, like, the first 2 go, and, you know, some of the other ones, it really is... It's cool. It's kind of like what a lot of people say about Castlevania, where it's like, this weapon seems like it's really worthless, but then you get into the spot that they designed for it, and it just, like, wastes everything. So it's like, okay, you know, I get it. That makes sense.
See, we're using this weapon all sorts of times.
This doesn't count as all sorts of times.
So the screen shake doesn't seem to be showing up in the capture.
There's very little of it, and pardon how long that took. Wasn't paying any attention.
No.
So while this is happening, Dr. Light's not on the cover of the Mega Man X Complete Works, but fucking Dr. Kane and Dr. Wily are standing right next to each other. Anyway, you were saying?
I love the ticking in the background of the Dr. Light track in this one.
Yeah, the Dr. Light music in this one is really cool. I think it fits his character really well.
It's really good. This game also has really good music.
This one has...
par for the course.
This one has some really, really excellent music in it. And also, this is arguably one of my favorite busters in the franchise. It's good and simple, it's like straight to the point, it feels stronger than the previous one was. It bypasses certain grace and vulnerability that bosses get if you hit quickly enough with it. So rather than like, I've got this whole cool stockpiled charge, but it's just going to hit the grace and vulnerabilities. No, this is just going to roll through everything. And it introduces a really cool mechanic that basically stays around for... Oh, wow, actually, it only lasts in the Super Nintendo games for the most part. I don't think cross-charge shots come up that much, or double charges or anything. Anyway, I really like this buster.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's a good natural progression, and it plays with the whole ambidextrous buster thing. Because I don't remember if I mentioned it at all in the X1 playthrough for this version.
You did.
But I did?
Did not.
Did not. X is ambidextrous in that either one of his arms can become a buster. And the only reason in canon that he doesn't use them at the same time, or at least this was the case in the classic games, is that it would overheat and damage him. And that only comes up in Super Adventure Rockman, I think, so, like, way out there. Japan exclusive bullshit, you know, whatever. It's like talking about the mangas and the animus and everything. But I like that as an excuse where it's like, why aren't you just, like, going at it all the time? And this one's upgrade system kind of gives the opportunity to bypass that. And they don't use it often, but when they do, it's like a really satisfying upgrade. Like, this one is just fucking outstanding for everything, so...
I do have a complaint about this level's design. Mm-hmm. Like those platform things where you jump on them and they move.
Yeah.
Like, if you jump on them again, they'll actually change direction, and they have like a full 4 degrees of direction, but that never comes into play in this stage.
In this stage, they don't. I think that's mostly just saved for later on, because I'm sure it'll get mentioned again then, too. They could have done more with it, but I mean, really, as far as the regular stages go, they don't really need to, so...
Also, it was a little hard to see, but it's like nighttime now? When did that happen?
I think if you're fast enough, I think it'll actually visibly transition, but I think it's basically just like, here you go. It might not be night. As like grimdark as this is, it might be this city burning effect in the background. It's not super clear. That comes up at the end of the intro stage in X3, actually, or at least that's how I interpreted it. But I think it might just be like, this attack's been going on for a long time or something. I don't know, it's just a cool detail either way.
It would be cool if it was in more stages.
Yeah, that kind of stuff doesn't come up often, but when it does, it's a nice little detail. Sting Chameleon stage kind of comes across that way as you like progress further towards the boss where the forest in the background gets darker and darker. Yeah, he can do that thing. Which, I talk about how devastating it is in the parallel video. It's really not. I think what I was remembering is if you don't get out of it, it stacks up really far, but like if you just button mash, you can get away with like 1 brick of damage even without the body armor. It might be 2. So, like, the saw blades are more damaging here. I really whiffed this fight in this. I do a lot better in the other one. And he's actually not too difficult to fight for me, but he was kind of a pain with how often he's spun. And
I like that he leaves drill marks on
yeah, those will damage you. They don't act like instant kill spikes, but they'll actually deal damage, which I didn't realize for the longest time. And then I was like, what the fuck is damaging me? I was like, oh my god, that's cool. So if somehow you take too long, he'll just like line the walls with hazards, which is really cool.
I kind of wish I'd keep him to play more in the fight.
Yeah, it would be cool if there was more stuff like that. But, I mean, it's cool that they did it in general. Like,
it's such a minor thing, but it's
so
detail.
The way this works, in my opinion, is X1 is still my favorite one just because of the nostalgia factor more than anything. It was a great step up from the classic games, and it did everything. And we must have just hit the weird frames on the last one.
He does flicker, right? He should be flickering?
I think kind of.
Or maybe, is it supposed to be just empty that first time? We should.
We'll check that. It might be empty the first time. I usually blow through this on my normal playthrough, so I don't ever pay attention to it, which is kind of bad. But, what was I just saying before?
Oh, shit.
Oh. So, X1 is still my favorite one because nostalgia factor and blah, blah, blah. Also, goddamn it, I have to cut myself off. Dr. Kane actually shows up.
Hey, Dr. Kane.
Which is really cool, because he's mentioned...
What? X-Hunters in parentheses. Why the parentheses?
I don't know. Who knows?
Continue.
He's super plot significant and doesn't show up at all in the first game. It's just like, X-Zero File Sigma, and that's it. It's like, didn't, like, an archaeologist, like, what happened? Like, who's this guy? And in this one, he's just, here he is.
Well, he shows up again as a body pillow.
Don't. Shut up. But yeah. Oh, so this part, they're talking about Zero's parts, which is, like, the main conflict of this, sort of. Most of the main conflict in this one is like, hey, Zero died in the last one and came back because Inafune was like, wouldn't it be a shame if, like, a good character design got killed off indefinitely?
Yeah, but he didn't just die, he exploded.
Yeah, it was a self-sacrifice thing, and there's lots to go into just about that subject. But, so, the X-Hunters are collecting the parts and everything, and, you know.
But how did they just find, like, all the pieces? Like, did they just run a magnet along the floor, pick them all up, and assemble?
It's not worth looking into that much, but, again, the whole central conflict is they're trying to reassemble them. And they won't be able to do the full thing without receiving the control chip, or, you know, like the IC chip, I think is what it's in most of them. I love this background! It's so good!
Also, the music's good.
Yeah, just everything about this level is so awesome. They're trying to rebuild them, and they won't be able to do that unless they get all the parts and the IC chip, which they call a control chip. I like the internal circuit chip, or whatever it's called in, like, the comics and other stuff. But anyway, so your sub-objective in this game is to find the X-Hunters now that they're, like, beaming into the stages and stuff like that, which is what that dialogue was all basically saying, is, like, we'll meet you in the field. If you don't beat all three of them, you don't collect all Zero's parts, and then you have to fight them. And if you do, then you don't. It's cool. It's like a little good ending, bad ending thing. It doesn't affect the gameplay too much outside of one boss fight, but it's just neat that the plot is there. And in that room, the whole reason I started talking about this now that it's not even up as a visual anymore, is like that purple light in the background. I always assumed, as a dumb kid, that was Zero's chip, just like this huge fucking holographic rectangle. It's like, alright, I mean, that's probably not the case, but whatever.
Well, this means Dr. Kane has new notification on Twitter.
Okay, that makes sense.
Bye,
fish.
That fish just disappeared. Coelacanth. Oh, fish. Okay, bye.
That frame rate.
We need to do 60 FPS after...
We do. No, it's fine. So, okay, let's go into these backgrounds again. We had, like, the amazing, beautiful ocean outside, and all those oceanic trenches just now, and now there's, like, you know, what are these pillars? And then it's, like, fucking awesome, well,
they're gone now,
in a second. Coming back up in just a moment. Anytime. I'm trolling myself. So all these, like, cool undersea, like, laboratory, city base things, it's just like, God, like, that's so cool. Oh god, this is such a good level. So, pro tip, up there, the reason you beat the coelacanth is if there was an X-Hunter on this stage, then you would need to kill the coelacanth to go up into an underwater cave. You can technically get past it using Grace and Vulnerability, but if it lands, the door is just locked.
I love the giant screwdriver robots.
They're so good.
They're so useful for assembling our space IKEA furniture.
Yes. I feel like there was more I was going to say during this episode, and now I can't remember what, because we hit like 8 different tangents.
That seems normal.
Oh, alright, one cool thing that's coming up. Or no, not until the refight. But, Bubble Crab is Bubble Man.
Yes.
Remember that parallel. His
Aye.
weapon's way cooler, though. Also, like, all the flashing lights and shit.
They're like that connecting hallway with so tits. Tits, Rick.
Well said.
Literally tits.
I love Bubble Crab's design. He is probably one of my favorite Mavericks outright in the franchise. And I don't even know why. I love the idea of the beam claws. It kind of sucks that they're not in his hands, but, like, there's just something so unique about him compared to, like, everybody else. Because one of the things that they innovate with, or whatever, in the later games, like, you know, PS1 and PS2 and everything, is making bosses bigger and, like, more intimidating, and they never really play with anybody that's small, and, like, Bubble Crab is a really, really cool fight because he has, like, you know, the different physics and the different size and the different kind of attacks and stuff like that, and it's just like there's something so great about him, and I don't really know what, and really, he's not even small, he just comes across that way because he's hunched over, so, like, even though he's almost X's height, and probably, like, the same size as, like, Flame Stag and stuff, height-wise, just as a sprite, he still feels, like, so wildly different from everybody else, which is something that they kind of stopped doing in these ones, versus, like, Blizzard Man in, again, Mega Man 6 is literally a snowball with arms and legs. He kind of looks like a baseball, more than anything, with, like, a hat and stuff, and it's just, like, or Toad Man is another good example. You know, it's a dying art, and Bubble Crab does it well in this one.